You wake up early, you stay late, you sacrifice relationships, weekends, and your own peace of mind, all in service of one massive, singular goal. And then it happens. The decades of grinding pay off. You reach the absolute pinnacle of your field. But according to elite athletes and top executives, the hours following that peak are rarely filled with permanent joy. NBA Hall of Famer Ray Allen described waking up the morning after his first championship and feeling a sudden, unexpected emptiness. He hadn't lost his gratitude, and his ambition wasn't broken. He was simply experiencing a widely misunderstood psychological crash that strikes the most driven people on the planet. At Harvard University, researchers in the field of positive psychology spent years documenting this exact phenomenon. Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar coined a specific term for it. He called it the arrival fallacy. It is the deeply ingrained cognitive error where we convince ourselves that reaching a specific external milestone will guarantee a permanent state of internal fulfillment. This chart illustrates what psychologists call impact bias. We project a massive, sustained plateau of happiness into our future, but the reality is a brief emotional spike that rapidly collapses back to our baseline mood. Because we optimize our entire lives, careers, and identities around a neurological illusion, we are left entirely disoriented when the finish line fails to deliver the peace we were promised. The root of this crash lies in a concept called hedonic adaptation, heavily studied by researchers like Martin Seligman. Our nervous system is exceptionally efficient at normalizing new levels of success, wealth, or comfort. To understand why, we have to look at dopamine. Popular culture treats dopamine as a reward chemical, a prize the brain dispenses when we achieve a goal. In reality, it is a motivational chemical. It surges in the anticipation of a goal, not the receipt of one. Looking at this abstract model, the brain's forward-looking seeking system fires aggressively, overpowering the quieter satisfaction centers. But when expected joy fails to materialize, the brain registers a negative prediction error and suddenly goes dark. To your neurons, this is a literal physical loss. That heavy, depressive crash following a major victory is simply your nervous system executing a cold biological reset. It cuts the dopamine supply to force you to look for the next target. This constant gnawing dissatisfaction can feel like a glitch in the human operating system, but it is actually a highly tuned, millennia-old evolutionary survival mechanism. If our early ancestors had felt permanent satisfaction after a single successful hunt or building one warm fire, they would have stagnated and quickly been outcompeted by rivals who kept pushing. Today, driven individuals are running that exact same ancient survival program. But instead of scanning the horizon for literal life or death resources, they direct that primal urgency toward corporate titles, their expanding portfolios, and higher status. The drive to push forward is entirely natural, but relying on an ancient engine built for sheer survival to generate modern emotional fulfillment is a guaranteed recipe for burnout. The ancient Greeks understood this loop perfectly. They told the myth of Sisyphus, a king condemned by the gods to push a massive boulder up a mountain, only to watch it roll back down to the bottom for eternity. The modern high achiever operates the exact same way. The second you reach the summit, the brain immediately invents a new, steeper mountain to climb. The goalposts never stop moving. If we strictly tie our self-worth to those fleeting seconds where the boulder rests at the peak, our lives will be overwhelmingly defined by the agonizing dissatisfaction of the climb. Escaping the misery of the arrival fallacy requires a difficult realization. The arrival is an illusion. The act of pushing the boulder is the only actual reality we possess. To break the cycle, we have to perform a psychological decoupling. We must separate our internal sense of safety and enoughness from our external, extrinsic achievements. Psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl documented that human beings endure and thrive only when they build an internal meaning structure. We have to focus on intrinsic goals, daily engagement, and the quality of our relationships, rather than treating life as a checklist of outcomes. Life does not magically begin after the next promotion, the next degree, or the next tax bracket. It is actively expiring right now, in the present tense, while we wait to arrive. The ultimate victory isn't finally reaching the destination. It is waking up to the profound realization that the journey is the only place we ever truly exist.